The contents of this show are for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. Any information on the show does not create a client-therapist relationship and should not be taken as professional advice. Before making any decisions regarding your healthcare, ask your personal physician or mental health care professional, or call 911 for any emergencies.
We are three friends exploring connection, from the coffee shop to the podcast studio. I'm Amy.
I'm Anna.
I'm Erin.
Hey, Anna.
Yeah?
You know Erin's a pretty badass therapist,
I
right?
totally know. I just take notes when she's talking.
Me too. Some of our audience does as well. So did you know that there's also a place that you can get information directly from her?
On her website, right?
Yeah. And didn't you do it?
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, so there's all these free workshops that they're offering, and at thekaliinstitute.com, you can sign up for those. Kali is how you spell Kali, and then Institute, thekaliinstitute.com.
Get it done.
I have a feeling this is going to be a goofy one.
It's going to be great.
Yep. Okay.
I'm so excited. Here we are.
Here we are.
We got a big one.
We got a big one here.
Everybody, we're back in the studio.
Yeah.
We're singing now.
We're so happy to be here. We're freaking thrilled. Hey! And oh my gosh, we've had some amazing guests, haven't we?
Oh my gosh.
What a different season.
I know. It's been great.
It's been so great and
Yeah.
so fun. And I think it was yesterday I told the two of you, I just want to be friends with these people.
Absolutely.
Oh my God.
Like,
I was
they're
thinking
doing
the same thing.
such amazing things.
Yep.
Yeah.
So cool.
They're so cool.
Yeah.
And I feel real lucky that we get to hear the insides of what people are doing, because I feel like you don't get those deep conversations with virtual strangers very often. And so I feel really, really grateful to hear, because I get super excited about everything that they're doing. So
Well, and it's I feel like just approaching these interviews and stuff, it's most of the time, if people have a business, they're always interviewed about the business. And it's just going at it from the approach of hey, we really want to get to know this person and how they connect to whatever this bigger umbrella thing is. Just the things that have come up in these interviews is so surprising. And it's just did not expect some of these things, these topics that we get to talk about.
Well, and it's the platform of the podcast has allowed us to be hey, stranger, but we think you have a really cool thing going on.
Yeah.
Can you come and tell us about your, your personal business? I mean, it's really it's such a, what a gift.
It's
that,
a gift.
They're giving us to come onto the show and then share with us.
Oh my
And
gosh.
We don't know them and they don't know us,
Right.
but they're trusting us with their story.
Yes.
And then
So
we get to
cool.
share it. So
Yep.
super
Very
awesome.
cool.
So Erin Eddy was on our last show, and she's got soworthliving.com
And so worth loving.
and soworthloving.com.
I think it's actually so worth loving.
So worth loving.
Right. Good.
But she does have so worth living on Instagram.
Oh, that's what. Okay,
Yeah.
that's probably why I was thinking about that.
Yeah, you got it.
So worth loving. She's so worth loving.
Yeah, she is so worth loving.
I love her laugh.
Yeah.
Super fun. And we've got some interesting takeaway topics that came from that interview. So before we get into the topics, I'm gonna quick read a review. And this one is from Laura S. from Kentucky.
Wow, I think that is my best friend from college. And thank you, Koida.
Yes.
We will take all the
you, Laura.
reviews
We
from
can.
old college best friends.
Oh,
please.
yes.
And just as a side note, Anna picks the ones to do, so I had no part in that. So that's pretty
yeah,
amazing.
that's funny.
Hey,
Yes,
I just picked the great ones.
Yeah,
I picked,
so-
ones that really stand out that I'm oh, that's good.
That's good. High five, bird.
Way to go.
Okay, I think
so-
we just got insight on 5 inside jokes right there.
Me too.
Go ahead.
This one is titled Authentic and Inspiring, and we have 5 stars. Thank you, Laura S. This is the first series of podcasts I've listened to. Now I'm hooked. Thank you for sharing your expertise and personal stories. I find myself considering so many of the concepts you decide for a wide variety of relationships and people in my life, ranging from my immediate family and closest friends to the cashier at the grocery store. Your down-to-earth and honest approach is so refreshing. Now I'm heading to turn off my computer and phone to do some true active listening with my family and friends. Thanks for the inspiration. Keep it coming. Cheers, Laura S.
Aw.
Yeah, bird.
Thank you,
That's
Laura.
really nice. Thank you. Keep them coming. We love hearing what you think of the podcast and where you're listening to it.
Yeah, that's fun.
So fun. And what you think. So
Yeah, share with your friends. Tell us what you like about it. Yeah, it's like the easiest, in my opinion, way to like support the show.
totally. Yes.
And it's totally free.
That's right.
So great. I love podcasts.
I love podcasts.
Ah.
Yeah,
I was listening to Armchair Expert on the way over here.
by old Dak Shepard.
Yes.
Okay.
Cracking me up.
Yeah.
Oh, I was laughing so hard. He was talking about the like birth order. He's like the youngest of 6.
Oh, attaboy.
Yeah. Yeah, and then they grew up in Indiana, so like there's a whole Midwestern thing, which I can relate to, and it was just, I was just laughing.
Oh, what was he saying? Does he agree with it?
Well, so he was saying that he was learning about birth order.
The youngest are always badass.
In college.
Is that what he said?
No, but we know you think that.
And Aaron is the youngest.
Yeah. 5, so I can say that.
No, but here's what he said. This is actually interesting maybe for you. So somewhere he learned that with birth order, it only is relevant to the first 4 children. And then, no, listen though.
Tell me.
Then when 5 comes along, it actually starts repeating itself.
Really?
So the 5th and the 1st have very similar characteristics or personalities. So like the high achievers, which is usually birth order or number 1, usually. But anyway, and then if there are 6 kids, that would be more similar to the second born. 7 kids would be similar to the third. I thought that was super interesting too. I never heard that before.
You got 2 sets of kids.
Totally.
Hey. You know what else I've heard about birth order?
What?
It's total BS. Just kidding. I'm kidding. No, what I have heard about.
You know what I heard about twins? I didn't hear anything about twins.
The firstborn is always the coolest. No, with birth order, that it only really matters when you're with those people. Like, otherwise, it's not really, it doesn't necessarily.
Keep going. We got you.
You got it.
Come on,
you got it.
Come on, man.
Like in like regular life.
It doesn't show up that way.
Doesn't, yes, that's the word I'm looking for.
However.
So I'm not sure.
Therapist, what is your...
But Crystal is...
Crystal's your business partner.
Yeah, she is the oldest of her family, and I'm the youngest, and she is 7 years younger than me, and I always feel like she's older than me. And so I think it plays out in our business where I'm like, oh, but it always feels like she's
You're
older
like
than
the
me.
little squirt.
And she's smaller than me. So
That's so fun.
So you're the youngest. I'm the oldest. You're...
I think I'm weird because well, we already know that.
You're all, me, I think I'm weird.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
No, but here's the deal. So there's 5 kids in my family.
yeah.
But where the age between everybody is different. So my oldest brother, so firstborn, 2 years later, secondborn, 2 years later, thirdborn. That's me.
Yeah.
Then there's a gap of 5 years. So then that's 4th. And then there's a gap of, let's see, I think 13 or 14 years.
Surprise!
And there's the there's the 5th.
Oopsies.
Yep.
So I don't know what happens with
Al's
that.
younger than you?
Yeah.
Okay,
Mhm. Yeah. Yep. I used to dress him up.
I
in
bet you
clothes.
did.
I put lipstick on him. I put his hair.
Oh,
I
I
curled
bet
his
you
hair,
did.
gave him glasses.
That's the
I
best thing to
did.
do with little brothers. We did that too.
Man.
Oh, man. Is he
made
like
him-
scarred?
Yes, he brings it up all the time. I also slammed his door slammed his finger by accident into in our minivan. You know, we had an Astro van. Do you remember those things?
Oh, yeah.
Maroon Astro van.
Oh, we had a maroon and gold full-size van.
Oh, yeah. We were talking about this recently.
Yeah, we were. Yep.
You guys both had like the conversion bands. Yes. I knew somebody in high school whose family had one of those. But so I slammed his finger in a door. I also punted a soccer ball when he was playing a kazoo.
You what?
Yeah.
Like in his face?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I heard it pop.
His face?
No, it was like the roof of his mouth.
Ooh.
Poor guy. He was like, oh man, I just loved him so much, but I also like really loved to just mess with him.
Yes.
The worst thing I probably did was we had these really spicy jalapeno peppers from our garden.
Yep.
I told him it tasted like candy.
Oh, you turd.
I know. So I was like, oh, Alex, you gotta have this jalapeno pepper. It's like candy. It's so good. So sure enough, he's like 5, and he's like, really? Okay. So he eats the jalapeno pepper. The poor kid had like red all over his mouth. It was like burning him.
Oh, little ER visit.
We're going to move on.
Wait. I want to say what we did to torment my little brother.
Great.
Can I just say, though, I love my little brher. I love both of them,
No.
But that my Alex, he's here in Denver. And he's like, just a gift.
Yeah. You are lucky he
Thanks,
came
Al.
out here. Yeah, and he doesn't even freaking listen to the podcast.
No.
Okay.
Okay, so Aaron's like, well, okay, we're talking
I'm
about...
going to have to rein it in.
We're talking... We're little brother corner right now.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so we tormented my little brother. He's 7 years younger than me. And we told him that there was this ghost named Mary Jo Shibley. We scared the shit out of him.
Wait, where did the ghost live?
Well, we were in Sioux City, Iowa, where my grandparents lived, and they had this creepy ass basement, and we're like, "Oh, Mary Jo Shibley's down there." And like we had it all set up where different cousins were at the windows, like scratching the window.
Oh no!
Oh, we scarred his ass. It was so bad. Like
that gives me goosebumps. Actually,
yeah, Mary Jo Shibley.
Look at Aaron's face. Aaron's face is pure
as the
disgust.
youngest. You're like, what?
She is the youngest, and she is.
I was terrified of the things in the basement. So,
oh yeah, it was the
Mary
perfect.
Jo Shibley.
Yeah.
I
don't know where the hell.
Double name, Midwest.
I don't know where the hell I got that name from, but man, we scared the shit out of him. He jumped.
I bet.
Yeah, we had it all set up. We had someone like hiding, rustling around different places in the like laundry basket. Oh, it was so good.
I think it was my grandparents. They had the stairs with like holes.
Yes.
Between each stair. And grab those ankles.
Just sprinting up the stairs.
So fast. I think I peed my pants once.
Yeah.
So scared.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was
Did
little
you time
brother
your
corner.
sisters? Did you used to time your younger siblings
No.
Time them like how
to
fast
go get
can you
you
do
stuff?
this? Well,
because my sisters did that to me.
No,
all
that was
the time.
confession. I
What?
do that to my kids sometimes.
I think that's a good idea. Because then it makes it like a game. I mean,
Totally.
maybe not.
Not for your younger sibling. It doesn't make
Aaron's
it like
like,
a game.
no. For kids.
Aaron, what do you have to say to all the younger siblings out there?
I have to say to all the younger siblings,
You're the spokesperson
this
for
is
the
what I
younger
used to say,
siblings.
especially to my middle sister. And she used to torment me, and I was like, when I get bigger than you, I'm going to kick your ass. And so it's true. Then it happened.
Is that Colleen?
No, Colleen's number 4.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
So did you beat her ass?
Well, yeah, not Colleen. the third one. Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, so what do you have to say to all the youngest siblings
This is
out
your
there?
moment.
Yeah.
This is on the spot. What do I have to say?
This is
Don't
your
put up
chance.
with that bullshit from your older siblings. That's what I have to say about that.
But it builds character, right?
So my friend,
Resilience.
my best friend when I was little, Matt, we tied his
turtle Matt.
yes, Turtle Matt,
Yeah.
and we tied his brother to a tree. No joke, his younger brother to a tree. I think for like a 2-hour period of time, and was tied to or something like that. He is scarred for life from that, and I feel terrible. I'm like, of course I'm a friggin' therapist, and then I tied this kid to the tree. Like that's horrible as a kid. God. Yeah.
Well, we all do our things, don't we?
We flipped places, right? So that I was the youngest, but not at Matt's house. So
I'm older than you, and this is what we do.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Horrified. I feel terrible. I've apologized to him. Like, it's awful.
Sorry, I tied you to that tree.
Here's money for your EMDR session. Oh my God. Terrible. Oh my God. Anyhow. Okay.
There's that voice again.
Here we go. I know. I love it. Okay.
Sibling corner.
Here we go.
Sibling corner.
Sibling corner. Now we are taking it back to the topics of the Aaron Eddie interview. So one thing that we're just going to jump right in here.
Great.
You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So first question we have for each other. When have you been the most courageous?
I thought we were going to do that. I guess this is why we should have talked about it.
Yes. Let's go with it. So when have you been the most courageous?
I mean, I actually think there's a decent transition here. Like,
Okay.
we're talking about childhood. We're talking about how scary it can be when your older siblings are tormenting you. And that takes courage, to stand up to people. If you're little, if you're older, like there are bullies in this world, people. And it doesn't matter where you are in life,
Right.
like there are people out there who want to tear you down. I mean, that is like the sad truth. I think that's like a really sad truth, actually.
You think there are? Really?
Yes.
I mean, okay. There are.
And
but I'm just trying to think about it.
I think there's like bullies are real.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
I think that, it takes courage.
Why do you not think that there's people that want to tear you down?
I think there's certain situations where people want to take other people down, but like I just think in general, I think people don't operate that way. Maybe I'm naive.
I don't want to make a generalization. Like I don't want to say that in general people are there to take you down. I don't believe that at all. Did I guess say that?
I think that's how I took it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no. I definitely, thanks for clarifying, because I definitely don't mean that. I think in general, people are good.
I'd agree.
I really, in general, I think people want to connect.
Yeah.
I think people want to be loved. And I think people generally are good people. I think the unfortunate truth is that there are those who don't operate that way.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Just like with specific situations or just in life in general?
That's a good question. I mean, I would have to...
I think that hurt people.
Yeah.
Hurt other people. And so I think that people are doing the best that they can. But I think that when there's people that are super wounded or really hurt, then they operate from a place where they can hurt other people because of the pain that they're in. And then actually Kelsey sent me something on Instagram that was like hurt people, but I can't remember what it said, but it was like healed people help heal other people. And so I think like I think that's true.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it takes courage. So when hurt people, so I'll speak for myself. Like if I'm in a position where I feel like there is someone or some people or whatever, like trying to hurt me, like it takes a lot of courage. And I mean, geez, it takes a ton of courage, but it takes a whole lot of other things too to kind of face that and get through it. And to really like stand up, just like being a younger sibling and someone's like tormenting you. It's like, you gotta like have courage to stand up. Or, I just think about like bullying in our culture and in schools and all that stuff. And I think it's always so interesting how people have said that if there's another person who can stand up for the child who's being bullied or the person who's being bullied, that is actually like the most beneficial.
That makes sense.
So
I've always heard that like if you're being bullied or like, and my son just recently started kindergarten, so it's like I've thought about like the bullying or if that happens, how to handle it, and I've always heard that if you're being bullied, you have to like speak up for yourself. Like that's the best way to handle it and stuff. But you've heard that someone else
find
should
an
do
ally.
Yeah. Oh, like an ally,
but
like someone on your team?
No, so like what I've heard, and Aaron, I don't know if you know more about this than me, but what I've heard is like the most powerful way to like stop a bully or to protect protect a person who's being bullied is not for that victim to like try to fight back. It's better if you can work with all the other people around them to teach them how to kind of intervene and stand up for the victim.
Oh, okay.
To the bully.
I feel like that is super powerful. I'm trying to think back to situations that I have been in and someone has stood up like, dude, that's not cool.
Yes.
And it is like, then it like cuts the shit that's happening. And then I think that is accurate. I don't know. I have any research about that or whatever, but I think
my daughter do it. And she tells me stories, you know, where it's like, so-and-so wasn't nice and said da-da-da. And it just makes me like so proud.
Yeah.
And like, just like, oh, thank you. Because I mean, I think it's like, it's a big deal.
It is.
You know? So anyway, yeah.
I actually had a situation when I was maybe 17 or 18 and I was out to dinner with friends. This is me being shitty. And so I was out to dinner with friends and one of our friends had just said something that was like questionable about character. I don't know what it was, but you can imagine at 17 or 18. And she went to the bathroom and then I started talking about that to my friend at the table. And my other friend said to me that is not cool to talk about people when they're not here. And I haven't, like, to me, and I was like, ugh. But it was the most powerful thing, and I have never forgot about that. Yeah. That was such a good lesson. Hard lesson, because it made me feel like shit, but I got the point. But I think that is absolutely true. So I
think that's where the courage is, right? Like your friend being able to just be like, not cool, Aaron.
Yes.
You know, like,
well, and saying like the unpopular opinion, like it'd be way easier for her to just keep going with it and like, oh yeah.
Yes.
But to say, whoa.
Yeah. And talk about like loving yourself, right? Like if you're able to say what is unpopular and stand for that, or you're able to like put a boundary up or tell someone like, hey, that's not cool. More power to you. That's what I say.
Right. Absolutely.
What about you, Anna? What about moments of courage?
I feel like the most courageous I've been has been learning to stand in my truth in all sorts of different situations throughout my life. And I mean, I feel like growing up as a shy person and feeling like I have no voice, my big mission as an adult is to find my voice and to use it. So like standing in my truth or like trusting my gut and acting on that and really living with integrity with like, okay, matching my insides to my outsides is something that's takes so much courage. I mean, because sometimes it's not a popular opinion to do what you have to do to say, this is the truth of what I need to do. And you might not like that. But I know in my gut, this is what I have to do. And so like being able to do that or wanting to do that and making those hard choices sometimes when it's not necessarily something that's like that you want to do, but you know in your gut that you have to do. Like those are the things that I constantly feel like, oh man, I have to be brave. I have to face this. I have to make sure that what I'm doing and how I'm operating in the world is in line with my true gut feeling. Like I feel like that has been like my mission. And like, so having that contrast of growing up and feeling like I had no voice or that I couldn't share because of the anxiety associated with my shyness, like I felt like just a paralyzation with my voice and I couldn't, it was like almost like a block. And so now using my voice and speaking when I feel the urge or have something to say, like that's something that has constantly built up my courage, and it makes it easier every time I do it to like be true to myself and to say what I need to say. So I'd say overall that's like the big umbrella thing that, and then with underneath that, then it's like, okay, here's all these other times I've been courageous with using my voice and saying what I need to say that, you know, needs to be said.
Yeah. As your friend, it's pretty cool to watch you do that. Because it is like you can see it, how it's like a compounding thing.
Oh, yeah?
Like you only get stronger in speaking your truth.
Yeah.
And that's been really cool to see.
I agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What about you, Aaron?
I'm trying to think. There's a lot of times that I've had to flex the courage muscle, but I think that the first time that I can remember doing that, I was a sophomore in college, and I had played. So prior to that, like through high school and my entire life, I had always identified as an athlete. So I had played through sports in high school, and then like that was my whole identity. And so going into college, I started playing soccer at the university that I was going to. And the first year was great, and I loved doing it or whatever. And then I got into the second year, and the situation wasn't ideal for me in soccer, but then all of my friends were field hockey players at the school. I had never played field hockey before. My two sisters played field hockey, actually at the university that I went to. And they had a situation where the goalie, they had one goalie on the field hockey team, and they needed another goalie, and she was having trouble her freshman year. And so they needed another goalie. And so then they were like, no, you should play. And I was like, I've never played field hockey before. Like, I don't have any idea. And so then I remember being like, I don't know if soccer is going to work out. And so if I quit the soccer team, then I'm going to lose my identity, and I'm not ready to do that. But I could step into field hockey, but it's completely switching sports. And so I remember we had a day off, I think it was a Monday for soccer. And so field hockey's day off was Tuesday, I think, something like that. And so then I went to the field hockey practice and I tried. And then the next day, and I was like, okay, I'm going to do this. And so then I quit. Then the next day I walked into the coach's office and I was like, I'm quitting. I'm going to play field hockey. And so it was the scariest conversation I've ever had. And like, oh my God, because I have no idea what's going to happen. I have never played this. I don't know if I'll be successful. Like, this scares the crap out of me. Because if it doesn't work, then like I have lost my entire identity, and then that is not great. And so then I did that, and then it was great. And field hockey was that was the best move that I could have done, and so that's when I think I had the first incident that I can remember that I needed like full courage, because I think like you can't, if you're not scared, then it's not courage, right? And so it was the most scared that I was like, oh, this is terrifying, like shaking, have to practice what I'm going to say, and then like jump into it, and it worked out fine. Yeah. So
that's good. It's like you're risk taking. You have a lot of courage and risk taking. Yes. Even with starting your business. Yeah. You know? Right. I mean, it's like, that's awesome.
That also was like, starting the business was because we worked for community mental health, and then we didn't like things that were going on with that. And then we were like, gonna do part-time. That's how I set up the whole thing for the next year. And then we didn't like what was going on. And we were like, we got to go.
Yeah. And you did.
Yeah, we did. And then it's like, because I had my old soccer coach, he was talking about, he was like, I was having a conversation with him. He was like, well, and I was like, I don't have a safety net. Like, what do I do? And he's like, you are your own safety net. And I was like, oh, okay. So I'm going to do this. So
you are your own safety net.
Oh, there's good.
There you go. There you go.
Good one.
Yeah. So that's, I think it's terrifying to go into situations where you need courage, but that shit feels so good when you like follow through with it, and then you like step into yourself, even though you might be shaking, but when you can do that, it's awesome.
Amazing.
Yeah.
There's that quote that like, my voice might quiver, but I am... Okay, we need to cut that.
Don't know that quote.
Wait, but Brene Brown always talks about that you can choose courage or you can choose comfort. And so I think that is... I think I will always choose courage. Yeah.
So I think that's perfect segue here for... If we...
Captain Segway. That's you.
That was loud. Wow.
Yep. Anyway.
So imagine we have the courage, right?
Yep.
I think that goes right in line with living a life with the belief that you are so worth loving. So how would you do things differently? So if you really took... You know, I remember there was that video of Erin Eddy where she's like, no, really, you are so worth loving. She said it in that way that it's like, ooh.
Immediately tears. Where I was like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
It was so good.
Like, what would your life look like?
I think that I would have a lot less like the doubting part of myself or the critical part of myself or I think I'd have a lot more freedom, like the free part of myself that could run around in the grass with no shoes on and just kind of dance around. Like that part would...
Your inner hippie.
Yes, my inner hippie would lead the way, I think, you know?
Yeah.
Because I think like my accomplished part, like the successful, I want to do things in the world would probably be holding hands with that inner hippie to like do things. Because I think you can do both things. Like you can have fun while doing things that are, because I think that there's different between like, I've been trying to create a sense of more of, it's been a challenge, but it's been more of a sense of ease in like the things that I'm doing. Cause like I want to cultivate the sense of joy in what I'm doing because the process is the whole thing. Right. And so then how do I do that? And I think that there's a difference between challenge and struggle. And so if I can, I like challenges. Like I think that we need challenges because you grow. But I don't think that I think I am learning to give up the belief that everything needs to be hard. And so I think that everything wouldn't need to be hard. Like I can have ease and I can have abundance and I can have challenge and I can have joy in all of this. Like,
interesting.
I'm learning how to do all of that. And so I would walk through the world and I would probably have more connection with humanity because I would want to talk to the checker at the store, or I would want to and really like see them and have time for it. And so because when I show up like that in the world, like I feel really good about myself. Like I remember I was trying this for a bit of time. I'm like, I need to work on this. So I went to the gym and I didn't have my headphones in and I was in the bathroom and I had made eye contact with this older woman and it was like 6 a.m. and we had a great conversation in the bathroom. I have no idea about what, but I walked out of there and I was like, oh, that was so nice. Like it felt so good. And so I think that you just feel the energy of other people and are really like, you see like the beauty in other people and you can connect that because you believe in the loving part. So then you're automatically like seeing that beautiful part in someone else. And so then those are the things that are connecting instead of like my pissy part. It's connecting with your pissy part. And then of course we're pissed at each other because those are the parts that are connecting. And so I think if I am always in this belief of so worth loving, then I am a way better person in the world. Like I show up how I want it to be. Yeah. So that's my answer.
Anna, it's good. You want to follow that one?
Yeah. So what did you say about like the business person and the hippie walking hand in hand?
Hand in hand.
Yeah, I imagine like you in a pantsuit and a flower crown.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God.
That's what you should wear for the wedding.
And smoking a balloon. not that you do that.
I don't smoke weed.
I know. I'm just joking. But Aaron and no pantsuit, flower crown. Okay, so when I think of this idea of living your life with the belief that you're so worth loving and how would you do things differently, the thing that comes to mind is settling and the idea of if I don't feel like I'm so worth loving at the like highest caliber of my truest self, then I'm going to accept things that are not the best for me. So, just thinking about things, that would maybe be like a red flag. Instead of it being a red flag, it's instead, if I operate from this idea of you're so worth loving, instead of it being a red flag, it is instead a deal breaker. So like the caliber and the standard for what I accept in my life then gets raised up to a higher level. And so I think that's what's standing out to me about how I would live differently or how I try to live when I do operate from a place of like, I am so worth loving. Like literally do not have to put up with fucking bullshit, no, not okay. Not acceptable, not dealing with that. Like, I deserve to be treated a certain way. I want to be treated a certain way. Like having a higher standard for what's acceptable for myself in my life and how I operate and who I surround myself with, so that's what that makes me think about. And then also I can really relate to what you said, Aaron, about like how you then operate with others in the world. So like the idea of if I am so worth loving, that also means that you are so worth loving. And so if I take the approach of like, you are inherently worthy and I have to, if I'm operating from this place, where you are so inherently worthy by just the nature of being born perfect, then I have to assume that you are doing the best that you can.
Mm-hmm.
And so that means like giving people the benefit of the doubt, or, you know, and also not getting stepped on, or that's not what that means, but like just operating from a loving place of like, you're doing the best you can, I'm doing the best I can. Like we're just doing this thing the best we can. So like having like a general compassion for others, I guess, as far as like how I relate to them. What about you, Amy?
I think about if I really felt like I was worth loving, I think about like looking for approval from others. And I think a lot about just being the people pleaser that I am, and that I kind of always have been since being a little girl. I think that that's where, you know, for a lot of my life, that's kind of like where I found my worth. I did not try to get emotional. I did not think this was going to happen.
Sneaker.
Whoa.
It's a sneaker.
Whoa.
Oh, yeah. You have it on your notes. Get emotional here. Note to self. Nobody thinks that you trying to do that.
That came in like a ninja.
It did.
Yeah.
Where was that?
Well,
Need to come
deep
out.
in your soul.
Woo.
Better out than in, like those old farts.
That's right. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Shrek. Thank you.
Did Shrek say that?
Yeah.
All right, I'm just going to think about Shrek, and then I'll maybe be able to
That's right.
Is
It's all right.
Shrek
get it
dropping
in here.
some
Emotions are good.
Shrek dropping those nasty
Well, I think
farts.
this is like the thing of it is that depending on where we are in life, then sometimes like I feel like I'm in a generally good place. So I feel like I'm so worth loving because I'm in a generally good place. But when there's crisis or there's things happening or like generally hard times, like sometimes it's like hard to believe that you are so worth loving.
Yeah.
And so
like going through a divorce
yes.
and like all that good horrible stuff. It's like, holy crap, I am so worth loving. Really? Okay, but
with or
here's
without
all
this
these,
relationship.
Yeah.
With or without these identifying things like that I've attached my worth to over so many years.
Yes. And like found my value in and had my pride there and really invested. And yeah, maybe I wasn't so true to myself in different times, and that's on me, you know, but like, I think this message is one that is hard for me right now. I mean, it is like,
I think
really,
that's why it
it's
resonates with so many people.
Yeah.
Because it's so vital to our existence and like our core belief that so many people don't feel like they're lovable or worth loving or just inherently worthy. It's like we're always seeking something outside of ourselves. Where it's like this idea that she's sharing and that, you know, we're talking about is the inherent worth that nothing is going to add to. It just already is there.
Right. Well, and I think too, like the examination of childhood and like, you know, I mean, all that attachment stuff that I think comes with different experiences, or at least it's come with different attachment issues have, you know, like they're in my own life because of different things from, you know, growing up or childhood or whatever. So I think that now with like divorce and like relationship and the major relationship coming to an end, it's like, it's just a whole new level of like, wow, this is me in the world. I am with me in the world. Like the spirit, yes, or whatever, the universe and me. And that's like, I was listening to another podcast, which is actually called worthy.com. And they put out this podcast. It's called Divorce and Other Things You Can Handle. Great podcast. Yep. But
it's a good title.
Yeah. And anyway, it's an interesting company, interesting idea. And I love it. But,
big eyes. And I love it.
But they were talking about this whole thing and like, you know, you have to find your own love for yourself, because ultimately it is just you in the world with yourself. And it's like, I think more than anything for me, if I felt like, or when I feel like I am worth loving or I am inherently worth that love, like, then I am at peace. Like, for me, that's a real serenity, you know, like inside, if I am able to love myself, you know, or feel that like feeling of being worthy of love, then I'm at peace. I'm comfortable in my own skin. I go out into this world as me, as like a loving, you know, like loving myself as I am. And I think that just leads to all kinds of things, like, you know, having healthy connections with other people where I can, you know, I'm not looking for some kind of approval or someone else to give me worth, you know, or like I have to be a certain way, or, you know, it's like I am who I am. I am worthy of love, and I can find that love in and of, like, inside myself, and maybe from like a spiritual, you know, guidance as well. But
hearing you talk, it sounds like an ultimate like confidence.
Yeah.
Almost like just how you would operate or how you operate when you're in that place. It's like, I'm good.
Yeah. And I think for me, that's what I want. That's what I want to work on. You know, like that's what I'm working towards, you know, because I've got work to do. There's no question. But yeah, it would just be like, I am who I am. And like, I can, you know, speak my truth, and I can be my full authentic self no matter who I'm with. And like, yeah, criticism comes my way, or a bully comes my way, or whatever. And it's like, you be you, and fuck you, you know, like, I don't need you, you know? Yeah. I mean, I think it's just like, I am okay being me, you know? So.
And we like when you're you.
Thank you.
Big fans. Big fan.
Thank you. I like when you guys are you too.
But I think that if either in childhood or it got lost along the way and we forget that we were so worth loving, sometimes, yes, we need to find that within ourselves, but we also need the connection in other people in our lives, maybe to like light that, like share their light with us, or to like lift that up, or to help us remember that we are. And so like, I think that that's a key. Like if someone doesn't know how to do it, or they have forgotten how to do it, we need other people to like facilitate that for us.
Oh my gosh. I think that's such a great point. And I think personally for me, you know, going through kind of the beginning stages of my divorce, I could not have done that without you and other solid, true friendships, like authentic, whether I had known them since, you know, junior high, or when I was, you know, my siblings, or whoever that was, or like my amazing friends in Denver. You know, it's like, I did need to be reminded daily, or I needed to like have someone kind of hold my hand to walk through a lot of really trying times, you know, and then to be able to be like, oh, I don't know. And I think like that connection was then, it just continued to build. So it's only building. But I think that is such a good point. Like,
well, and I think the distinction that's really important here is that you said other people igniting that or helping you with that, not being the sole source of your worth.
Well, not like taking your flame away so that you have it and then the other person is drained, because that's not what that is, right? Yeah. So it's like you're like sharing your light so that you can be like, come on, you know, like you have this too, just so that we remember, because I think sometimes we all forget.
You know? Yes. Yeah.
Or we never learned it. And so I think that's why when people are like, what are you talking about, self-love? What does that mean? Like, I have no idea. And it's like, well, because if you never learned that from your parents, or you never learned that, or you forgot it because of life circumstances and you had trauma or a tragedy or something, like, yeah, we gotta help each other. And connection is so important for that.
I think that it would be great to do like a tangible, here are different ways to better or increase your self-love.
Okay.
Do you have those?
We can talk about them. But
No.
I think it'd be great. We can put something on like a PDF
that's
on
what I mean.
the website.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't have them right now.
Right.
You got those, Amy?
Just thinking out loud
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't have them.
Right.
I certainly don't have them.
I don't know about y'all.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think it would be good for for me.
Right.
For every,
Well, because I think when we get in those moments, it's really great to have something that's written down because then we can refer back to.
Yeah.
Because if we're in a place where we don't feel like we're so worth loving, then like to remember like, oh yeah, these are the things I'm supposed to do, not happening.
No.
And so it's nice to be like, oh, I should, this is helpful. This has helped me.
Yeah.
Like a step by step, I think that it's helpful. So PDF it.
Coming.
Right, Anna?
Coming your way.
Captain PDF.
I'm writing it.
NJ.
PDF of self-love tips.
Sure. Self-soothing. It's like the same type of thing. We
That's
talked about
true.
that the other day.
That's right.
Yeah.
We already did this.
I got to say one tip
just
that
haven't
I
made the
learned
PDF.
is that sometimes I get real overwhelmed with anxiety, and in these times where it's like I just start spinning, like my, thoughts are kind of spinning. And Aaron was telling me that one thing that is really, really good is just to like move your body because I like feel it all. So I literally many times just start doing jumping jacks.
It's great.
It has been very, very helpful. Very helpful. And I've encouraged, like my kids to do it too since learning that little tip. But, I never knew. Jumping jacks.
Jumping jacks.
Doing jumping jacks and crying my eyes out. And, really, it's been a super helpful thing. So thank you.
Yep. Well, actually, this is the funny part of that. And so I had been working at the school when I first was like, I knew the movement thing, whatever, but I was trying to think of like other strategies to help kids with panic attacks or anxiety or whatever. And oddly enough, I was watching Orange is the New Black. And
Great show.
But the guard at the thing, one of the women was about to have a panic attack, and then he got super serious and he was like, do jumping jacks now.
No way.
And so they did jumping jacks and she stopped having a panic attack, and I was like, holy shit, that's genius. Like, and so some form of that. So like, because then it like your body gets overly charged and we need to discharge that energy. And so like, how do you do that? And so that's actually where that came. What's oddly enough.
Well, and you had
put the pieces together.
Were you telling us about this on a podcast episode or maybe at coffee about someone who got in an accident? And then what?
Well, so the woman that I learned EMDR from, she's fantastic. And so she was telling us a story in the training, and she was talking about how she got in the accident and then was on the side of the road and she started shaking her body all over the place. And the woman next to her was like, what is going on? She's like, I don't want to get trauma in my body. Like, and so she was like getting it all out, which is super interesting.
Intentionally just shaking.
Yes. And Peter Levine, he's created somatic experiencing, I think he was either telling a story or something. I could have this wrong, but something like this. And that he was in some sort of accident of some sort where he couldn't really move anything but his hand. So that he was just like slowly moving his hand or telling a story about someone.
Right now is doing a open.
We have a visual.
Closed.
But doing this and
open.
If I remember, but like doing this so that the trauma would release out of the body and wouldn't get stuck, because essentially when our nervous systems gets overwhelmed, like that energy gets like caught in your nervous system and then can't get out, and then that causes trauma. And so just doing this. So it's fascinating. But anyways, yes.
Very. Yes. It is very fascinating.
Charge of the nervous system.
Yeah.
Yep. It's fascinating.
Wouldn't it be amazing if someday like people start using techniques like that? And
that'd be so healthy.
No, but imagine if you're like just driving along. You're driving along. You're like walking in a town square or something, and you just see random people doing jumping jacks like all over the town.
They're like, I'm just having a little anxiety.
I'm just releasing the trauma from my body. That'd be
it's amazing. Yes,
cool.
Totally.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
All right, so everybody out there, here's your challenge for the end of the episode. We are coming to the end.
I have an idea for one too. So I want to hear yours.
Okay.
And then maybe listener choice?
Okay.
Both?
Okay.
Listener choice.
They can do both.
Oh,
maybe
totally.
it's the same thing.
Okay.
But I had an idea. You go first.
My idea is to try jumping jacks.
Whenever.
No.
No. Yeah. So try jumping jacks
when you are stuck in an emotion, whether it's like an overwhelming sense of sadness or it is anxiety. And Aaron, I think you need to kind of take over.
I was going to add an addendum.
Yes,
and so
please.
An addendum to this challenge.
If jumping jacks feel like too much, maybe just move your feet. So like you're sitting in a chair and you're just tapping your feet on the ground.
At the same time or every other?
Every other. Or tap your hands every other. Or give yourself a butterfly hug. So you put your left hand on your right arm and your right hand on your left arm and just tap every other, just to like kind of move things through and breathe all the way into your system. But so jumping jacks work for some people, right? But then that might feel like...
If you're super intense.
For all of us in this room right now.
We're like, yeah.
Sometimes that's too much and you can't manage. But so just to start moving energy. Yeah. So there you go. Yeah.
Okay. That's a really great tip. So,
or if you feel trapped like in a meeting, just tap your feet because that gives the sensation that you're not trapped because like your body's like moving.
You're all, this
bored?
Is a
Bored,
meeting
like
that should not have existed.
Like trapped in that sounds so negative if you feel trapped in a meeting. But like if you're bored in a meeting.
Bored,
that's
sure.
Not...
No, sure. Bored.
So is the idea to connect the body and the mind or what? Or is it a release situation? I
think it's both.
A total shift. I mean, that's what I've experienced with my own jumping jacks is like, I might be feeling something. And then I start doing the jumping jack and it's just like...
And it's not, I think this deserves a clarification of it's not a way to like make you not feel those feelings. It's a way to walk through those feelings, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Not suggesting stuffing. Not suggesting stuffing. So I think...
Life hack!
Life hack! I'm going to tell you about my feelings about fucking life hacks. They're not positive.
I love them.
I hate that word.
Have you seen my...
That's so funny because Anna uses it all
she
the
loves
time.
them.
I love them. I have really good ones.
Aaron might disagree with this.
I've never seen Anna say. I've never seen it. Tell me.
I'm going to have to send these to you.
Okay.
I have on my Instagram highlights, I have a life hacks section. One for a case of
Erin's about to roll her eyes
seltzer water that you have to check out. It's not done very well. The production value is very poor, but it's a wonderful life hack.
Sorry, wait. What did you just say about seltzer water?
It's a life hack with seltzer water and making it. You'll have to just watch it.
Okay, so
Anyway, let's get back to your...
So if there's a life hack about seltzer water or ironing or washing your clothes, great. That is great. If there's a life hack about anxiety and I feel anxiety all the time or I'm depressed, there's not life hacks on that. Like, or if you don't want to feel your emotions, there's not a life hack to help you to not deal with or to bypass feeling whatever you need to feel.
But I think that's what people are looking for when they do like the self-medicating and alcohol or drugs or
and how well does self-medicating work?
Well, it works temporarily, but that shit always comes back.
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Hey, man. Hey, man.
So you gotta just...
Amen.
So you gotta walk through that.
The life hacks on emotional work does not work, right?
Deep personal work.
Or they work temporarily. I
use life
think,
hacks for laundry.
Okay, so I have to say, I think that people do these quote unquote life hacks for these emotional fixes because they work. But the problem is that they work temporarily. And that's why people go to them as a coping mechanism.
Okay, let me modify then.
Okay.
So if someone needs help coping in the moment with their anxiety or they need to get through the day or they need to do things and they need coping skills. So maybe we're talking about the same thing. So coping skills so that they can manage their life. I am all for that. However, I associate...
But some aren't healthy.
So if we're talking about healthy coping skills, right?
Yes.
I'm not talking about alcohol, drugs, shopping, any of that's compulsively. I'm not talking about that. So to me, life hack and taking the easy way with bigger things, that's what I see. And so there is not an easy way to deal with some sort of big emotional thing. Like you have to do the work.
I agree with you.
And I think that people, because they're doing the best they can, want a life hack to get them through some hard shit so they don't have to feel it.
Yes.
and then there isn't one.
And you're calling bullshit on that.
Yeah, I'm calling bullshit.
Oh, yeah. We're saying the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying, but
Glad we got that.
Let's shake that shit out.
we got to do some jumping jacks.
Seriously.
Shaking my hands here. I'm shaking my hands. I got to discharge this. Okay.
I'm glad we talked that through.
I'm glad.
All right, you two.
Okay.
Anna, what's your other awareness nugget or challenge?
Okay, so in addition to the awesome, like doing jumping jacks, getting in your body, the feet tapping, I was thinking it'd be really great if we encouraged our listeners, you, to ask yourself, like, if you were to operate from the place of living your life from a place of, I am so worth loving, what is no longer acceptable, or how would you operate in the world differently?
Great question.
So that's the question I had.
Right.
Both wonderful.
They are both wonderful. Yeah.
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 High fives.
High five. Woo! Good work. All right.
I was like, whoa, I got one.
Yes. Good thing you got it in.
It was a good one.
That took a while, a big detour, and we got back to that. Okay.
So we are at the top of the hour, and we just want to say thank you all for being in the Less Alone community, and really, truly, like, I feel love.
I do feel love.
I feel love for all you.
Good.
But it's been a great episode.
Yep.
And we'll be back soon.
It was a big one, huh?
It was. That's what she said.
Oh, Christ. Here we are.
boy.
All right.
Okay.
With that, we'll see you next time.
Bye. Okay, so we talk about connection. That's what our deal is here. So we have a 6-step roadmap for instant connection. You can get that at connectionroadmap.com. It will give you the hookup on what to do to get instantly connected with people in this world.
Thanks for listening. You can find more about this episode and a way to connect to the community at lessalonepodcast.com. And if you like us, don't forget to subscribe and be sure to leave a review. It helps other people find us and could be just what they need.